Did you know that storytelling is more than just an art? It's a science. Studies show that people remember stories 22 times better than facts alone. That's right, a well-told story sticks in the mind far better than dry statistics or data. In fact, a survey by the Harvard Business Review revealed that 80% of leaders believe storytelling is the most effective way to connect with their audience. So what's the secret behind this powerful tool? It's all about story structure. Think of story structure as the blueprint for a great narrative. Just like a house needs a solid foundation, a story needs a strong structure to hold it together. Without it, your story can easily collapse into confusion or boredom. In this video, we'll dive into the essential principles that can transform any story from ordinary to unforgettable. You'll discover how to create characters that leap off the page, craft openings that grab attention, build tension that keeps your audience hooked, and much more. Stick around, and you'll learn how to use these principles to make your storytelling truly compelling. Ready to unlock the secrets? Let's get started. Chapter 1. Unlocking the Story DNA, Crafting Memorable Characters. Crafting memorable characters is the heart of great storytelling. Without compelling characters, even the best plots fall flat. Think about your favorite stories. They're usually driven by characters that feel real, relatable, and complex. According to a study by the University of Southern California, audiences are 22% more likely to remember a story if they connect emotionally with the characters. But how do you create characters that stick with your audience? Start by focusing on their desires and flaws. Every great character has a goal, something they're striving for, and a flaw that makes that goal harder to reach. Take Harry Potter, for example. His desire to belong and his flaw, his stubbornness, drive much of the story's conflict. Another key strategy is to give your characters depth through backstory, but be careful not to overwhelm your audience with too much information. Introduce details gradually, letting your audience discover who the character is as the story unfolds. Author John Gardner once said, "A character is what he does, yes, but even more, a character is what he means to himself and to others." This quote underlines the importance of showing how your characters perceive themselves and how others see them, creating a rich, multi-dimensional figure. Finally, remember that your characters should evolve. A character who remains the same from start to finish is a missed opportunity. Show growth, change, or even deterioration depending on your story. This evolution keeps your audience invested, eager to see where the journey leads. Chapter 2. The Art of the Hook. Captivating your audience from the first word. The first few moments of your story are crucial. If you can't grab your audience's attention right away, you risk losing them entirely. Research from Microsoft suggests that the average human attention span is just 8 seconds, shorter than a goldfish. This means your opening needs to be sharp and engaging. One effective technique is to start in the middle of the action, known as in medias res. This instantly pulls your audience into the story, making them curious about what's happening and why. Think about the opening scene of Star Wars, A New Hope. It drops you right into the middle of a space battle, leaving you no choice but to pay attention. Another strategy is to use a provocative question or statement. This method works because it stimulates curiosity, a powerful psychological trigger. For example, starting with a line like, "What if everything you believed about love was a lie?" Instantly makes the audience want to know more. Setting up a mystery or conflict early on is also effective. When you introduce a problem right away, your audience becomes invested in seeing how it's resolved. This doesn't have to be a life or death situation. Sometimes smaller, more personal conflicts are even more engaging. Don't forget about the importance of your first sentence. It's the reader's first impression of your story, so make it count. Make it intriguing, surprising, or emotional, anything that will make your audience want to keep going. Chapter 3. Plot Twists and Turns, Mastering the Roller Coaster of Emotion. Plot twists are the spice of storytelling. They keep your audience on the edge of their seats. But not all twists are created equal. A good twist should feel surprising yet inevitable, meaning that when it happens, your audience should think, "Of course, how did I not see that coming?" One of the best ways to create a memorable twist is through foreshadowing. This involves planting subtle clues throughout your story that hint at the twist to come. For instance, in The Sixth Sense, The twist that the protagonist is dead all along is hinted at through the absence of direct interaction with other characters. When done right, foreshadowing makes the twist feel natural rather than forced. Another strategy is to mislead your audience through red herrings. These are false clues that lead your audience in the wrong direction, making the twist more surprising. However, be careful not to overdo it. Too many red herrings can make your audience feel cheated rather than thrilled. A successful plot twist should also change the direction of your story. It's not just about shocking your audience, it's about shifting the narrative in a new, unexpected way. This keeps the story fresh and engaging, preventing it from becoming predictable. It's important to balance your twists with the overall narrative arc. If you include too many twists, the story can feel chaotic and disjointed. Use them sparingly, ensuring each one has a purpose and contributes to the story's emotional journey. Chapter 4, Building Tension, the slow burn to an explosive climax. Building tension is an art form in storytelling. It's the process of gradually increasing the stakes, keeping your audience glued to the narrative as they anticipate what's to come. According to a report by the American Psychological Association, suspense triggers a release of dopamine, which heightens focus and engagement. One effective method for building tension is to layer conflicts. Start with small issues and gradually escalate them, adding more problems as the story progresses. This technique keeps your audience invested as each new conflict adds to the suspense. Another strategy is to use pacing to your advantage. Slow down the narrative at crucial moments, allowing the tension to simmer. This creates a sense of anticipation, making the eventual climax more impactful. In Alfred Hitchcock's words, "There is no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of it." By delaying the resolution of the tension, you keep your audience on the edge of their seat. Incorporating unexpected obstacles can also heighten tension. When your characters face unforeseen challenges, it raises the stakes and adds to the suspense. These obstacles don't have to be huge. They can be small setbacks that, when added together, create a sense of mounting pressure. The climax should be the most intense part of your story, the moment when all the tension you've built up finally explodes. Make sure it's worth the wait. A well-crafted climax not only satisfies your audience, but also reinforces the themes and messages of your story. Before we dive into more storytelling secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the rest of these game-changing tips. Chapter 5, The Power of Subtext, Saying More with Less. Subtext is the unsung hero of storytelling. It's the meaning that lies beneath the surface of your words, the unspoken emotions and ideas that give your story depth. Using subtext effectively can transform a simple scene into something profound. Ernest Hemingway called this the iceberg theory, the idea that only a small part of the story is visible while the bulk of it remains hidden. One of the most powerful uses of subtext is in dialogue. What a character doesn't say can be just as important as what they do say. For example, in Pulp Fiction, when Mia Wallace tells Vincent Vega, "I want to dance," she's not just talking about dancing. The subtext hints at her desire for excitement and her rebellious nature. Another strategy is to use setting as subtext. The environment your characters inhabit can reflect their inner world. In The Great Gatsby, the contrast between East Egg and West Egg symbolizes the divide between old and new money, as well as the emptiness of the American dream. Body language is another tool for subtext. The way a character moves or holds themselves can reveal their true feelings, even if their words say otherwise. For example, a character who says they're fine but clenches their fists is likely hiding something. Subtext also works well with themes. You can weave your central theme through the narrative without explicitly stating it. This allows the audience to uncover the theme on their own, making it more impactful. As author Robert McKee says, storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. Chapter 6, Theme, Weaving the Invisible Thread that Holds Stories Together. A strong theme gives your story direction and purpose. It's the central idea that ties everything together, making your narrative more cohesive and meaningful. But weaving a theme into your story isn't just about repeating a message, it's about embedding it in the fabric of your story. One way to do this is through recurring motifs. These are elements that appear throughout the story and reinforce the theme. In The Catcher in the Rye, the motif of the catcher symbolizes the theme of protecting innocence. Every time Holden Caulfield encounters something that threatens innocence, the motif is reinforced. Character arcs can also reinforce your theme. As your characters grow and change, their journey should reflect the story's central idea. For instance, in Breaking Bad, Walter White's transformation from a mild-mannered teacher to a ruthless drug lord embodies the theme of power and corruption. Another strategy is to use symbolism. Symbols are objects, characters, or events that represent a deeper meaning related to your theme. In Lord of the Flies, the conch shell symbolizes order and civilization. As the shell loses its power, so does the boy's connection to society. It's also important to avoid being too heavy-handed with your theme. Let it emerge naturally from the story rather than forcing it on the audience. A theme that feels organic is more likely to resonate. Ray Bradbury once said, "Don't talk about it, just live it." Chapter 7. The Hero's Journey. Reimagined, breaking the mold for modern audiences. The hero's journey is a classic storytelling structure, but modern audiences crave something fresh. That doesn't mean you have to abandon the hero's journey altogether. Just find ways to subvert or reinvent it. This keeps your story familiar yet new. One approach is to shift the focus from a single hero to a group of characters. In Stranger Things, the ensemble cast takes on different aspects of the hero's journey, creating a dynamic, multi-layered narrative. This approach allows for more complex storytelling and gives different characters the spotlight. Another strategy is to play with the traditional stages of the hero's journey. You can rearrange or skip stages to create unexpected twists. In Mad Max Fury Road, the road backstage is flipped, with Furiosa's return to the Citadel becoming the final climactic battle. Consider also altering the hero's motivation. Instead of a quest for glory or revenge, perhaps the hero is driven by a more personal or unconventional goal. In The Big Lebowski, the dude's journey is motivated by something as trivial as a ruined rug, which adds humor and originality to the story. You can also change the hero's role. Maybe the hero is reluctant, like Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, or morally ambiguous, like Tony Soprano in The Sopranos. This makes the character more relatable and adds layers to the narrative. Chapter 8, The Final Stroke, Crafting Endings That Linger. The ending is the last impression you leave on your audience, so it's crucial to get it right. A great ending doesn't just tie up loose ends, it resonates emotionally, leaving your audience thinking long after the story is over. One effective technique is to bring the story full circle. By returning to an idea or image from the beginning, you create a sense of closure. In Forrest Gump, the image of the feather at the end mirrors the opening, symbolizing life's unpredictable journey. Another strategy is to leave some questions unanswered. Not every ending needs to be tied up neatly. Sometimes a little ambiguity can make the story more powerful, giving your audience something to ponder. In Inception, the final shot of the spinning top keeps viewers debating whether Cobb is still dreaming. Consider using a twist ending, but only if it serves the story. A well-executed twist can reframe the entire narrative, like in The Sixth Sense. However, it's important that the twist feels earned, not just thrown in for shock value. Endings that evoke strong emotions are often the most memorable. Whether it's joy, sadness, or a mix of both, aim to leave your audience feeling something. As Kurt Vonnegut once said, give the reader at least one character he or she can root for. Lastly, your ending should reinforce the story's theme. This brings everything together and leaves the audience with a clear sense of what the story was about. In To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Finch's final lesson to Scout about understanding others encapsulates the novel's central theme of empathy. If you've enjoyed these tips and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us continue sharing insights on storytelling and beyond.